It's the most personal thing to people. It is, and I know it's one of the most personal things to people because try talking to someone else about drinking. Try talking to someone else about how you haven't had a drink for 2 years and watch what happens to them.
I'm sober for 7 years. I know exactly what he's speaking of. Whenever I tell people I stopped drinking, they're like, oh, well, can you just like have a little bit? Can you have just a glass? We're celebrating. There's something that you need to drink for. Don't you feel awkward? And the answer is no, I don't feel awkward. Because when I was drinking a lot, I made you feel awkward because I thought it would validate that I'm actually okay. That I'm not the problem. Maybe you are. You're boring. That's my old way of thinking back then. So yes, it's very personal. The reactions from people, you'll see who actually has a problem with drinking or who has family members with a problem with drinking, because when you say you don't drink, they make it seem like it's your type of problem, but it's really not, it's theirs.
You have to fight really hard to look at it from a critical point of view because it's constantly pushed on you. Every Friday and Saturday on social media, there is enabling going on for drinking. When your friend blacks out, if he dies, he dies. And me saying I won't have another drink 10 minutes later.
Captions, yeah.
I too am really guilty of this because I enabled people to drink. Some of the people, close friends that I've had in my past life, I really wish that I didn't enable them to.
What if I woke up every morning on Friday and Saturday and Sunday and put my feet on the ground and I just went, not hungover, and put it on social media every day, you know? Like, that would be an influence to people because I think you forget that's an option. And if you look at drinking the way you would look at anything else, which is risk, reward, what am I giving up, what am I getting? It's some of the worst odds that ever existed. And I just looked at it like...
This aha moment that John Mayer also has of what if I keep going was brought to me by somebody who said, well, what if we could spare you the last 10 years of misery? And that really hit home.
I had one night where
Especially
I went
when you get
deep.
older.
Yeah, man, I just went deep one night. I remember being like, hey, what happens if I keep going? And it wasn't like dark, it wasn't sinister. I went, I always stop here. What if I keep going? It was really kind of like a oddly like playful kind of a thing. And then I went, oh, I'm done.
And did you go though? Did you keep going?
Listen, I have the most amazing last night of my life drinking story. And it was Drake's 30th birthday party, and I made quite a fool of myself.
Really?
Oh, and it took me weeks to stop doing this every morning I woke up. And then I had a conversation with myself. And I remember where I was. It was like 6 days into the hangover. I was in my 6th day of the hangover. That's how big the hangover was. I looked out the window and I went, okay, John, what percentage of your potential would you like to have? Because if you say you'd like 60 and you'd like to spend the other 40% having fun, that's fine. But what percentage of what is available to you would you like to make happen? And there's no wrong answer. What is it? And I went, 100.
I want it all.
I said 100.
I want it all.
And then the voice in my head said, okay, do you know what that means? And I went, we don't have to talk anymore. I get it.
Let's go.
And that next year, I did 4 tours. I was in 2 bands. I was happy on airplanes. So what happens when you stop drinking? The level goes, it feels like boredom at first, but if you stick with it, the line straightens out and it goes kind of low, right? You're like, oh, I'm not having these high highs. But if you work, you can bring the whole line up.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
I love what he says about living 100% because I do think when you live a sober, curious life, you're really only living maybe 80% and giving your chance to live 80%. Why not go the distance at 100%? I think when you live a sober, curious lifestyle, to me, I'm like, okay, that's what the other brands represent. You can see it all over the non-alcoholic space, but Sans is the only brand that will give you 100% chance at it because we are a sober lifestyle, a sober brand giving you 100% chance, not 80%. But if 80% is good enough for you, then go for it. Be sober, curious. That is meeting you halfway where you need to be, but we are going the distance 100%, so we can give you the potential of 100%, not 80%. I mean, I'm Asian, 80% is not really good enough for us. We want to go the distance.